Meet the Fockers is a comedy about when two completely different families are united by marriage. Greg Focker and Pam Burns decide to finally get married. Surprisingly, Meet the Fockers does contain a scene that involves organic chemistry. In one scene, Jack is convinced that Pam's fiancé Greg has an illegitimate son and has been hiding him from Pam. In order to get what Jack believes to be the truth, he suddenly stabs Greg with a syringe full of sodium thiopental, or otherwise known as truth serum. Once he stabs Greg, Greg almost instantly becomes loose, and for the first time admits to Jack that he dislikes him in his CIA ways.
You're still in the circle of trust, so I'm going to give you one more chance. Are you ready to admit that you've been hiding this from Pam?
No, I haven't.
You're not hiding anything?
No. All right?
Is that tartar sauce on your shoulder?
Tartar sauce?
Ah!
Why?
Oh. You've been injected with a highly concentrated dose of sodium pentothal, street name Truth Serum. You will have no recollection of this in a few minutes, and tonight, for the first time in your life, my young friend, you are going to be honest. Keep the pressure on.
The reaction used to form sodium thiopental is as follows. We start out with ethyl malonic ester, and we undergo malonic ester synthesis with 2-bromopentane using sodium ethoxide as a base to produce this compound, which then undergoes heterocyclization with thiourea, and using sodium ethoxide as a base again, we then produce thiopental in the end. And the mechanism for creating this compound is over here. We start out with ethyl malonic ester, and using sodium ethoxide as a base, we deprotonate the alpha carbon here, and after that, that alpha carbon is able to attack the 2-bromopentane at the carbon here, and bromine just leaves, and that produces ethanol. And after that, the thiourea with the lone pairs on the nitrogen could come in and attack the carbonyl up here. And when that happens, the lone pairs can move back in and kick out the ethoxide ion, and that could then be used to deprotonate the nitrogen here, removing the positive charge. And after that, we then get half of the ring of the thiopental. And then basically the same thing happens all over again, just on the other side. So the lone pairs on this nitrogen then come in and attack the carbonyl here, and we then move these lone pairs again. We kick out the ethoxide ion, we deprotonate the nitrogen again, and then finally we end up with our product, thiopental, and some ethanol at the end. So that's the mechanism.
Okay, now that we know what sodium thiopental is, let's evaluate why it's so special. So in a general barbiturate, we have 3 carbonyl groups, and you have 2 specific R groups. Now, to make a barbiturate effective, you have to have 2 different R groups. If we look at the difference in sodium thiopental versus the generic barbiturate, we find out that these R groups are especially nonpolar compared to most other barbiturates. The long nonpolar R1 and R2 groups allow rapid penetration through the blood-brain barrier, especially since the molecule is small, and also allows easy entry into the receiving loop that we'll learn about later. Another special feature is the fact that there's a sulfur group moiety replacing the carbonyl here. This allows the more rapid removal from the activation loop once it's present in there. And for reasons we'll learn later, we'll find out why the sulfur group is so different from the carbonyl in the generic barbiturate. If we look at the enhanced version of this, we'll find that we've entered now the blood-brain barrier, and we have 2 neurons. These 2 neurons of this lying person are filled with all sorts of different receptors and transmembrane proteins. If you were to zoom in, you'd find that our receptor that we're looking at is the GABA A receptor. The GABA A receptor is a pentameric ion channel. If you take a top view of the protein complex, you'll find 5 subunits. You have 2 alpha subunits, 2 beta subunits, and 1 gamma subunit. Although sodium thiopental also interacts with the alpha and gamma subunits, it has a specific affinity for the beta subunit. If we were to zoom into the beta subunit a little bit, we'd see that you have the phospholipid bilayer, you have the carboxylic end here, followed by a long amino acid sequence and a few transmembrane domains that span the phospholipid bilayer. If you were to zoom in on that a little bit more, you'd see that there's an interaction actually with the alpha subunit. The alpha and beta subunits interact to form what we call a barbiturate receiving loop. This receiving loop is composed of 3 alpha helices and 3 beta pleated sheets. The barbiturate receiving loop is also special because it's rich in tryptophan residues. If we were to see now exactly how sodium thiopental works, we'll see why tryptophan is such a special amino acid in this case. Tryptophan is a nonpolar amino acid that has a heterocyclic ring right here. The heterocyclic ring has a resonance structure in which you can get a positive charge in the nitrogen. If you can see the negative charge moving over to the positive charge, you get the final structure, which is a complex of both molecules. Complexing both molecules together causes a conformational change to occur. We'll see this conformational change in the GABA receptor area. In the inactivated state, the receptor loop is obviously inactive. There's no conformational change, and the GABA receptor itself, as you can see here, is C-shaped. The C-shaped receptor pushes pressure on the chloride channel. Chloride channel thus remains closed. You have a high concentration of chloride on the outside and a very low concentration of chloride on the inside. After you have complexing, where the organic molecule itself interacts with the tryptophan residue in the receiving loop, you activate the BZD receptor, the beta subunit, and as a result, the once C-shaped GABA receptor now takes on a U conformation. This U conformation then allows the GABA molecule itself, which is semi-ring shaped, to sit in and relieve more pressure that opens up the chloride channel. Once the chloride channel is open, chloride ions pass freely through and hyperpolarize the cell. Once the cell is hyperpolarized, the amount of signaling that goes on dramatically decreases. It's interesting to note that barbiturates and benzodiazepines, which are closely related, differ in the fact that barbiturates keep the channel open for longer, whereas benzodiazepines make the channel open more rapidly. After this, an activation of the cell, you now have our once lying patient now telling the truth.
All right. It's great to be here with all of you as I am about to set sail in my ship of life with my first mate, the beautiful young blonde lass over there. Hey, baby.
I love you, honey.
Mwah. I still masturbate to Pam.
Greg?
What? It's true, honey. What? Come on, you're hot. Look at her. Look at those boobs. Man, I just want to lather them up with soap and just get it. I love it. Oh, man, I just want to nestle in there and just take a little vacation in there.
Honey.
Interestingly enough, once again, the truth is not always the truth. Just because it inhibits the higher cortical functioning doesn't mean the patient will always remember all the facts, and sometimes even mixes out fact and fantasy. This, of course, makes the test just a bit unreliable.
So the scene was able to accurately depict the fast effect of sodium thiopental when Ben Stiller got injected by his father-in-law. Also, it does reach maximum potency within 1 minute and lasts for the next 5 to 10 minutes. The accuracy of sodium thiopental as a truth serum, however, is a bit more questionable. This compound basically works by depressing the central nervous system and interfering with judgment and higher cognitive functioning. Now, some psychiatrists hypothesize that lying is more complex than telling the truth, so suppression of higher cortical functions may simply make them less likely to lie on purpose. However, there's no guarantee that what they're telling is the truth, because a person could simply be telling what is reality or what is fantasy to them. They don't know. They're just saying and regurgitating what's in their mind at that time. So basically, in summary, we currently don't have a truth serum. So overall, barbiturates are a derivative of barbituric acid, as you can see here. This structure, however, is not pharmacologically active. And to be used clinically, most barbiturates have substituents at positions 1, 2, and 5, as you can see here. 1, 2, and 5, and 1, 2, and 5. And position 5 is the most important, however, because this side chain often determines the potency and duration of the action of the barbiturates. And this is really emphasized if these chains here are branched. And as you can see, these barbiturates are hypnotically active, and they all have substituents at position 5, as these examples show. Thus, we could see that secobarbital and thiamylo are much more active and potent than the rest of these examples here.
The substituent at position 2 also affects the potency and duration of the barbiturate. If sulfur is present at position 2 instead of oxygen, the barbiturate will have a more rapid onset and shorter duration of action. So thiamylo and thiopental have a more rapid onset and shorter duration of action than secobarbital and pentobarbital, because these have oxygen present. Also, if position 1 is methylated, such as in methylhexatol, here we see there's a methyl group attached then to the nitrogen. Also, if position 1 is methylated, such as in methylhexatol, where we see a methyl group is attached to the nitrogen here, then there's an increased incidence of excitatory side effects. Now let's take a look at sodium thiopental. As you can see, there's a sulfur atom at position 2. This means that sodium thiopental has a very quick onset and also shorter duration. It also has a very long and highly branched chain at position 5, which indicates that it's a higher potency level. It's documented that sodium thiopental reaches a maximum effect in the body within 1 minute and lasts for 5 to 10 minutes, depending on mainly what's at position 2 and 5, but also, as we saw here, with the hexapental at position 1. Oh, hey, Chloe, what's up? I've been seeing you forever. How's everything going?
Yeah, it's fine. How's it
Good, good. How's school going? How's
Yeah, it's
everything?
really hard. Oh my gosh, but I'm
I
trying
know,
my best.
I know. Chemistry is so hard.
I know.
Organic chemistry, but Jackie's a good specialist. So.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna like being in this class. But
Yeah. Yeah.
So wait, how are your other classes going?
Good, like, difficult, but
Yeah.
I'm so hungry. Like, I grabbed a Twix, so.
Yeah, what'd you get?
Oh my god, someone took it.
What?
I just bought it. You saw me. That's so weird. I don't know.
Wait, are you sure it came out?
Yeah. I want my money and everything. It's okay, I guess.
I don't know where it went.
That kid. He must be eating my Twix.
Is it Belle?
I think so. Like, he's coming like here. I think he has chocolate all over his face. Let's go ask him. Hey,
Hi.
did you take my candy bar?
No. What are you
I think
talking
you
about?
did.
Why would you think that?
Because I bought it, and then I turned my back for 1 second to talk to her, and it wasn't there.
But I don't have anything.
And what's all that around your mouth then?
Makeup?
Yeah, right.
You don't believe me?
There's sodium thiopental in my pocketbook. Truth serum. Let's stab it with him and see what he says. I bet he'll tell the truth.
Go for it.
Really? Can I see what it is?
I guess.
How do you feel?
I'm so dizzy and really tired.
That's the sodium thiopental. So, are you ready to confess that you took my candy bar?
I didn't take your candy, but I do love chocolate.